There are towns that follow the usual blueprint: houses, roads, stores, and people going about their daily routines. And then there are places like these. From a village where everyone wears gas masks to an entire town that lives inside one single building, these are real communities with rules, structures, and lifestyles so unusual they almost feel fictional. Let's take a look at some of the most bizarre and fascinating towns that actually exist. Campodimele, Italy, the village where time slows down. Perched quietly on a hilltop in central Italy's Lazio region, the village of Campodimele has become a source of fascination, not because of its architecture or tourist appeal, but for something far more surreal. Its residents barely seem to die. The claim that there have been no deaths in 80 years might sound like an exaggeration, and it is, technically. But the truth behind that statement is still remarkable. For decades, Campodimele has been known as the Village of Longevity. In the early 2000s, it gained international attention after a World Health Organization study revealed that the town had one of the highest life expectancies in the world, with men living well into their 90s and women often outliving them. So, what's their secret? A combination of factors seems to contribute to the extraordinary health and long life of Campodimele's people. Diet plays a major role. The local cuisine follows a traditional Mediterranean style, rich in vegetables, legumes, olive oil, and garlic, with very little processed food or red meat. Lifestyle is another important factor. The village is surrounded by hills, so walking is part of daily life. Many residents also tend to gardens and stay physically active even in their later years. Then there's the element of low stress. With a population under 800, life in Campodimele is quiet and simple. There's little pollution, almost no traffic, and very few of the modern-day stressors that are common in big cities. Genetics might also play a role. Scientists believe that generations of living in this isolated village may have given residents a unique genetic makeup that protects them against diseases like heart problems and possibly even some forms of cancer. And perhaps most important of all is the sense of community. Campodimele has a close-knit, intergenerational social structure. Elders are respected and involved in everyday life, not pushed aside. Strong family ties and social connections are known to improve both mental and physical health. And here, they seem to be doing just that. Now, about that 80-year deathless claim. While it isn't literally true, it likely comes from how rare and delayed deaths are in this town. People don't just live longer, they stay healthier for much of that time. Centenarians, people who live past 100, are not unusual, and serious illnesses like heart disease and cancer appear much less often than in the rest of Italy. Campodimele shares similarities with other so-called blue zones, places like Okinawa in Japan, Ikaria in Greece, and Nicoya in Costa Rica, where people often live long, healthy, and active lives well past 100. Many believe Campodimele should be officially recognized as Italy's own blue zone. Even with all the studies, Campodimele remains a mystery. It's not just the food or the genes or the clean air, it's the way everything comes together. Some might even say there's a bit of old-world magic in the mix. Miyake-jima, Japan, the town where people wear gas masks. Miyake-jima is a small island south of Tokyo, part of Japan's Izu Islands, but it's unlike anywhere else on Earth. This volcanic island sits directly on the Philippine sea plate and is home to Mount Oyama, an active volcano that erupted violently in the year 2000. The eruption wasn't just destructive, it also released massive amounts of toxic sulfur dioxide gas into the air. The emissions were so severe that the entire island had to be evacuated, and it remained uninhabitable for over 4 years. When residents were finally allowed to return in 2005, life on the island had changed forever. Even today, sulfur gas still leaks from the volcano, making the air occasionally dangerous to breathe. As a result, the roughly 2,000 people who live there must carry gas masks with them at all times. Though not worn every minute, these masks are essential during gas spikes, which can happen without warning. To keep people safe, gas detection systems are installed all over the island, in schools, government offices, homes, and on the streets. When gas levels rise to a dangerous threshold, loud alarms warn everyone to put on their masks. Visitors to Miyake-jima are even required to sign waivers acknowledging the risk. Despite the danger, many residents choose to stay, drawn by the island's rugged beauty, tight-knit community, and economic support from tourism and government subsidies. For thrill seekers and nature lovers, Miyake-jima offers volcanic landscapes, wild dolphins, and surreal experiences. But for those who call it home, it's a daily balancing act between life and danger, a place where nature rules and gas masks are just another part of the outfit. Whittier, Alaska, an entire town in one building. In the remote, icy wilderness of southern Alaska lies a town that feels more like a self-contained world. Whittier, with a population of just over 200, is one of the most unusual towns in the United States because almost everyone lives under the same roof. The town's heart is a 14-story building called Baggage Towers, and it's not just an apartment complex. It's home, school, church, grocery store, post office, laundromat, and even city government, all housed within its concrete walls. Originally built as an army barracks during the Cold War, Baggage Towers was designed to withstand harsh weather and isolation. Over time, it evolved into a complete vertical community. In a place where snowstorms, icy winds, and avalanches can make going outside dangerous for much of the year, it actually makes sense to keep everything indoors. Children go to school through an underground tunnel that connects to the building. Families live on the upper floors, while offices and services operate below. Residents bump into each other in the hallways, elevators, or shared laundry rooms. Outsiders might find it claustrophobic, but locals say it creates a close-knit, safe, and efficient way of life. Whittier is accessible by only one road, and that road goes through a one-way tunnel that also doubles as a train track. When you finally reach the town, it's hard to believe it exists. But it does, thriving quietly at the edge of Prince William Sound, where a whole town fits inside one building, a modern-day vertical village in the Alaskan wild. Slab City, California, the lawless city. Tucked deep in the Sonoran Desert of Southern California lies one of the strangest communities in the United States, a place known as Slab City, or more dramatically, the last free place in America. Once a military base during World War II, the site was abandoned in the 1950s, leaving behind only concrete slabs where buildings once stood. Over time, these slabs became the foundation for a completely off-grid, unregulated settlement unlike anything else. Slab City has no government, no police, no electricity grid, no running water, and no taxes. It's not even technically a city. It's a squatter community where anyone can come and stay for a day or a decade free of charge. That freedom attracts a wide mix of people: artists, nomads, drifters, retirees, survivalists, and those simply seeking escape from society's rules. Despite having no official structure, Slab City has developed its own personality. There's a library, a music venue, a skate park, and one of its most iconic landmarks, Salvation Mountain, a brightly painted hill made from adobe, hay, and gallons of colorful paint, covered in religious and peace-themed messages. Life in Slab City isn't easy. The summers are brutally hot, reaching temperatures above 45 degrees Celsius, 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Residents live in trailers, tents, or hand-built shelters, often relying on solar power, generators, and communal support. With no garbage collection or running water, survival requires creativity, resilience, and a strong sense of independence. To some, Slab City is a dangerous no-man's land. To others, it's a rare experiment in total freedom, a place where people live by their own rules or none at all. Either way, it remains one of the most fascinating and unconventional places in America. Colma, California, the city of the dead. Just south of San Francisco lies a town with a population that's wildly unbalanced, not between men and women, but between the living and the dead. Welcome to Colma, a small city with around 1,500 living residents and over 1.5 million buried bodies. That's nearly 1,000 graves for every person alive. Colma was established in the early 20th century for a very specific reason: to house the dead that San Francisco didn't want. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, San Francisco began running out of space and saw its cemeteries as a waste of valuable land. So, in a controversial move, the city passed laws to stop new burials and eventually removed almost all of its cemeteries. relocating thousands of graves to nearby Colma. Over time, Colma became a necropolis, a city of the dead, filled with sprawling cemeteries, including resting places for notable figures like Wyatt Earp and Joe DiMaggio. The town has more than 15 major cemeteries, serving people of all faiths and backgrounds, and funeral services remain a major part of the local economy. Despite its reputation, Colma isn't creepy. In fact, the residents embrace their town's unique identity with a touch of humor. The city's motto? It's great to be alive in Colma. Today, Colma is quiet, clean and respectful, with manicured graveyards and peaceful streets. But it remains one of the only towns in the world where the dead truly outnumber the living by over 1,000 to 1, making it a place where history is quite literally buried beneath your feet. Auroville, India, a town with no religion, politics or money. In southern India, near the city of Puducherry, lies one of the most ambitious social experiments on Earth. A town called Auroville, often described as a universal city in the making. Founded in 1968 by Mira Alfasa, known as the Mother, and inspired by the philosophy of Indian spiritual leader Sri Aurobindo, Auroville was built with a radical vision, a place where humanity could live in peace, beyond the boundaries of nation, religion, politics, or personal wealth. Today, Auroville is home to more than 3,000 residents from over 50 countries, all living with one shared purpose: to build a society focused on collective progress rather than personal gain. There's no concept of private property in the traditional sense. Land and housing are owned by the Auroville Foundation, and residents contribute work or financial support in exchange for their needs. Daily life runs on a spirit of collaboration, sustainability, and self-governance, though not through traditional elections or political systems. There's also no organized religion, yet the town is deeply spiritual. At the center of Auroville is the Matrimandir, a golden sphere-like meditation center that reflects inner harmony rather than worship. It's surrounded by a series of experimental neighborhoods, eco-villages, farms, and artisan workshops, many of which operate without formal currency, using a community credit system instead. While the dream of a perfect utopia is still a work in progress, Auroville continues to attract people from around the world seeking a different way of living, one based on unity, sustainability, and spiritual growth. It's not without its challenges, but Auroville stands as a rare, real-world attempt to break free from the systems that divide us and reimagine what a global community could look like. Kowloon Walled City, the densest place on Earth. Once described as a living, breathing vertical slum, Kowloon Walled City in Hong Kong was one of the most bizarre urban environments ever to exist. Before it was demolished in 1993, this tiny enclave crammed over 33,000 people into just 6.4 acres, making it the most densely populated place on Earth at the time. That's more than 3 million people per square mile. Originally a Chinese military fort, the area became a legal no-man's land after British and Chinese authorities failed to enforce control. Over the years, it evolved into a lawless labyrinth of stacked makeshift high-rises, often built without permits, engineering plans, or even sunlight between them. There were no clear streets or zoning, and the buildings leaned on each other for support, creating dark, narrow alleyways where electric wires, water pipes, and people coexisted in a surreal mess. With little to no official oversight, Kowloon Walled City became a hub for unlicensed dentists, illegal businesses, sweatshops, and even triad gangs in its earlier years. But despite the chaos, a tight-knit community thrived inside. Residents looked after one another, kids played on rooftops, and local shops and noodle stalls did brisk business. By the late 1980s, concerns over safety and sanitation grew, and in a rare agreement, the British and Chinese governments decided to clear the city. In 1993, Kowloon Walled City was demolished, and a park now stands in its place, but its legacy lives on in films, games, and urban legends. Kowloon wasn't just a slum, it was an unregulated experiment in human resilience, where life managed to adapt in one of the most extreme environments ever built, a true city within a city, and one the world has never seen again. Noiva do Cordeiro, Brazil, the town of women. Hidden in the hills of southeastern Brazil lies Noiva do Cordeiro, a village that has captured global curiosity for one striking reason: It's almost entirely run by women. With a population made up mostly of women, this rural community is often misunderstood as a female-only utopia. But the real story is far more grounded and fascinating. Founded in the late 19th century by a woman who was shunned by the church for leaving an arranged marriage, Noiva de Cordeiro grew into a matriarchal farming village where women manage the land, make decisions, and lead daily life. Over generations, men became less involved in the governance of the town. While men are not banned, most work in nearby cities and only return on weekends, meaning the village is largely female-led throughout the week. The women of Noiva do Cordeiro have built a cooperative lifestyle, sharing responsibilities and making decisions collectively. From farming to construction to event planning, almost everything is managed by the women themselves. They value sustainability, equality, and creativity, and have even developed their own relaxed approach to religion, rejecting rigid patriarchal norms. News outlets have sensationalized the village as a place where women are desperately looking for men, but locals dismiss this as a myth. For them, it's not about excluding men, it's about building a fair, peaceful life where women have the freedom to lead. In a world where gender equality is still a struggle, Noiva do Cordeiro stands as a rare example of a functioning, real-world matriarchal society. Coober, Pedy, Australia, the underground town. Deep in the outback of South Australia lies Coober, Pedy, a town so hot and dry that people have learned to live underground to survive. Known as the opal mining capital of the world, Coober, Pedy sits in a desert where summer temperatures regularly soar above 45 degrees Celsius, 113 degrees Fahrenheit, and shade is almost non-existent. To escape the blistering heat, residents didn't build taller buildings, they dug downward. Today, most of Coober, Pedy's population lives in dugouts, homes carved directly into the sandstone rock beneath the surface. These underground homes stay naturally cool in summer and warm in winter, making them far more comfortable than anything above ground. But it doesn't stop at houses. You'll find underground churches, shops, hotels, museums, and even art galleries, all tucked beneath the dusty red earth. The town has an otherworldly look, with old mine shafts, rusted equipment, and mounds of excavated rock scattered across the landscape. It almost feels like a post-apocalyptic movie set, and in fact, several sci-fi films have been shot there, including Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome and Pitch Black. Coober, Pedy is remote, surreal, and rough around the edges, but it's also a place of resilience and innovation. Its residents have carved out a unique way of life by going underground, turning a harsh and unforgiving environment into a livable, even welcoming home beneath the desert floor. Giethoorn, Netherlands, a town with no roads. Imagine a town where there are no cars, no traffic lights, and no honking horns, only the gentle sound of water and the occasional duck gliding by. Welcome to Giethoorn, a storybook village in the Netherlands where roads are replaced by canals and the main mode of transport is a whisper-quiet electric boat. Located in the province of Overijssel, Giethoorn is often called the Venice of the North. The village is made up of charming thatched roof houses, wooden footbridges, and narrow waterways that weave between homes and gardens. Instead of driveways, residents have private docks. Instead of buses or cars, they commute in small boats called punters. The calm and car-free environment has made Giethoorn a popular destination for those seeking a slower, quieter pace of life. In fact, the village is so peaceful that even electric motors are often preferred over gas-powered boats to preserve the silence. Visitors walk or cycle along narrow paths, crossing over 170 bridges that connect the homes and cafes dotting the canals. Though tourism has brought more foot traffic in recent years, Giethoorn still feels like it belongs to another era, a place where time slows down and nature takes center stage. It's not just picturesque, it's a functioning real-life village that shows what's possible when a town is built around water instead of wheels. Ta'u, American Samoa, a town that runs entirely on solar power. Far out in the South Pacific Ocean lies Ta'u, a remote island in American Samoa that made a bold leap into the future. In 2016, this quiet island community did something remarkable. It ditched diesel generators and became one of the first places on Earth to run entirely on solar power. Thanks to a project by Tesla and Solar City, Tau now operates on a solar-powered microgrid made up of over 5,000 solar panels and nearly 60 Tesla PowerPack batteries. This system stores enough energy to power the whole island for up to 3 days without sunlight, and it recharges fully in just a few hours of good sun. Before this switch, Tau relied on imported diesel fuel, which was expensive, polluting, and often disrupted by bad weather or shipping delays. Power outages were frequent, and fuel shortages could cripple daily life. But with the new system, the island now enjoys stable, clean, and reliable electricity, with zero dependence on fossil fuels. What makes Tau so unique isn't just that it's 100% solar-powered, it's that it proved renewable energy works, even in the most isolated locations. This tiny island has become a model of sustainability, showing how small communities can take big steps toward a cleaner and more resilient future. Roswell, New Mexico, the UFO capital. If there's one place on Earth where aliens might just feel welcome, it's Roswell, New Mexico. This small desert town became world famous after an incident in 1947 when a mysterious object crashed nearby. The US military claimed it was a weather balloon, but many believed it was a UFO, and the conspiracy has never truly died down. Since then, Roswell has fully embraced its extraterrestrial reputation. The town is now a quirky hub for alien-themed tourism, complete with UFO museums, alien streetlights, sci-fi murals, and even a McDonald's shaped like a flying saucer. Every summer, it hosts the Roswell UFO Festival, attracting thousands of visitors, believers, skeptics, and curious travelers alike. Locals have turned what could have been a forgotten Cold War-era mystery into a full-blown cultural identity. Whether or not you believe in little green men, Roswell thrives on the blend of history, myth, and marketing, making it one of the most unusual towns in America. Here, aliens aren't just a theory, they're a way of life. Tristan da Cunha, the world's most remote inhabited island. In the vast emptiness of the South Atlantic Ocean lies Tristan da Cunha, a rugged volcanic island so isolated it's often called the most remote inhabited place on Earth. Home to fewer than 300 residents, this British overseas territory is completely unreachable by plane. The only way to get there is by boat, and that journey takes 7 days from South Africa. There's no airport, no hotels, and no mobile phone service. Ships visit just a few times a year, weather permitting. Supplies, mail, and even visitors arrive according to the rhythm of the ocean, making life here entirely self-reliant and deeply connected to nature. Despite the isolation, the community is tight-knit and remarkably organized. Everyone shares land and resources, and life moves at a pace untouched by modern chaos. There are no big industries, just fishing, farming, and a lot of resilience. Living on Tristan da Cunha isn't for the restless, but for those who do, it offers a rare kind of peace, the kind that comes only when the rest of the world is literally an ocean away. Palmanova, Italy, a perfect star-shaped fortress city. From the ground, Palmanova might seem like a quiet Italian town, but from above, it's a masterpiece of geometry. Built in the late 1500s by the Venetians, Palmanova was designed as a 9-pointed star-shaped fortress with walls, moats, and perfectly symmetrical streets radiating out from a central plaza. This wasn't just for beauty, it was meant to be the ultimate defensive military city, combining strategic strength with Renaissance ideals of symmetry and order. The design allowed defenders to cover every angle against invaders, while also creating a city that was supposed to represent utopian perfection. But despite its brilliance, people didn't want to move there. It was too controlled, too isolated, and perhaps too perfect. Over the centuries, the city was repopulated by soldiers and later by civilians, but it never became the thriving utopia its creators imagined. Today, Palmanova is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a surreal example of how urban design, military strategy, and idealism can blend into something that's both visually stunning and strangely eerie. That's all for today. The world is full of strange and surprising places, and sometimes the most unbelievable stories come from the most overlooked corners. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video that makes you question reality. See you in the next one.